is TrueNorthTV, powered by Communitech. From Waterloo Region, Ontario, Canada to the world. The conversations you need and want to hear from interesting people on topics at the intersection of technology and humanity. Tech for good. Let's get started.
Thanks, Talia. Hello and welcome to TrueNorthTV. I'm Ian Klugman. It's safe to say that no other event in recent memory has underscored the importance of reliable domestic supply chains as much as this year's COVID-19 pandemic. For many of us, the pandemic has also put a spotlight on the importance of buying local and supporting the business people in our communities. That's especially true when it comes to the food we eat. Local food has been a growing trend for more than a decade, but COVID seems to have accelerated that even further. My guest today is at the forefront of this trend. Marc Lafleur is the co-founder and CEO of TruLOCAL, a startup launched in 2016 and based right here in Waterloo Region. In fact, based right here in the Communitech Hub. Well, welcome to TrueNorthTV, Marc. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So, are you the son of the hockey player, Guy Lafleur?
I'm not, but ironically his son is also named Marc Lafleur, so a little bit of confusion there.
Yeah, do you play hockey or?
I don't play any hockey
You don't play
at all.
hockey at all?
No
Okay.
hockey.
And you're from Cornwall?
I'm from Cornwall.
How did growing up in Cornwall affect you and help you be the kind of person that you are?
I grew up with my mom. I had loving parents and they gave me everything they could. We didn't always have a lot of money. I think that it's kind of like a lot of the common story in Cornwall. Went to high school there. I was in French all up until grade 9 actually, and then went into English school. It's got that small town feel, at least compared to Toronto and stuff. And I think for me it was really exciting to try to get into university so that I could go experience something outside of Cornwall, because all we ever had was Cornwall and Ottawa. So I think it kind of influenced me that way because it gave me this drive to want to see more, than just my small town. So ironically, I feel like the craziest thing with stuff like that is that once you've gotten to the big cities and once you get a little bit older, you kind of strive to go back, right? So I've got a lot of love for Cornwall. Had an interesting high school career. Teachers that supported me when I don't think anybody else would have. I was definitely a headache in grade 9 and 10, and I think it was about grade 11 and 12 where I finally turned things around, and it was from the support of the school and the town. So. And
then you decided to come to the University of Waterloo and to study health.
Yes.
I don't even know what studying health means. Help me understand what that means.
I don't know if I still even know what it means, but what I do know is that it was the only health program in Canada at the time that didn't require any math, because I am absolutely brutal at math. I still failed stats twice in university. So looking at it, it was just something that seemed like a great opportunity. University of Waterloo, health degree. It seems like if you're going to be going to school and you don't know exactly what you want to do, that was one of the ones that kind of struck me as a good degree to have.
Very cool, very cool. So tell me a bit about what TruLOCAL's all about.
Yeah, so TruLOCAL started off 4 years ago, so in 2016, and our biggest thing was that we wanted to solve a consumer problem, and the problem was that people were looking for easier access to value-added meat products. So when we're talking about value-added meat products, we're talking about things like 100% grass-fed, we're talking about things like pasture-raised chicken, RWA chicken, which is raised without antibiotics, and the main focus on all that was going to be local, because no matter what claims are out there, they're always changing what's better, organic or grass-fed. The one thing that wasn't going to be a fad is local. So that was kind of the main focus, and we wanted to just take best practices from other industries. Nothing we were doing at the time was groundbreaking or innovative, but we figured if we could take best practices from e-com, everything from driving traffic, customer acquisition, paid advertising, and even take things from SaaS like user onboarding and retention, we could take that to an underserved market, which was online meat, and that's what we've been doing for the past 4 years. 2 years ago, we started seeing that there's a lot of problems on the supply side as well. So as we started working with more producers and butchers, we started seeing that they have a lot of struggles when it comes to selling the product, which is ironic because this is a product that everyone is looking for. Like if you gave people the opportunity to buy commodity meat versus buying meat from the farmer down the road, they would always buy it from down the road, but yet they still have a problem selling this. So that's where we started kind of also servicing the suppliers and the producers, and we do that through TruLOCAL Connect.
I think the sort of the Costcoization of our food has led a lot of people down sort of the price is king type of approach to the decisions they're making. But you don't compete on price.
We don't compete on price at all. For us, we're going after the customer that's willing to spend a little bit of extra to get that extra quality. And I always say this, people, there's a lot of controversy around meat. It's one of the reasons we wanted to get into this space, because there's a lot of controversy.
Do you eat meat?
I do. I eat a lot of meat.
Others that would be a little weird.
Yeah, I know. Ironically, I always joke, in the early startup days in year one when we were completely broke and, we just didn't know where the next paycheck was coming from, at least we got to eat like kings every night. So that was one of the benefits. But yeah, I eat tons of meat, and I think that people, when you look at meat, they lump all of meat into the same bucket, and it's all, it's all this sort of demonized meat, and it's all bad, but that's not the case. There's a lot of different types of meat out there. When you look at factory farming, obviously that's a leading cause of global warming, and it's causing a lot of the problems, and it's also what gives a bad taste to people's mouths, no pun intended, to the meat industry. But when you look at things like regenerative farming, and you look at things like rotational grazing, and you look at it on small scales, that's very beneficial for the world and the ground as well. So our focus has never really been to eat more meat. It's that the meat that you are eating should be better quality, and you get what you pay for, right? Especially with food. You see it all the time. People are willing to spend, however much a week, $20 a week on Starbucks if they want to go get that, right? Well, you could take that money, less than that, and upgrade the quality of the food that you're putting into your body. So we service those customers. That's who we're going after.
That's very cool. Tell me a bit about the customer experience, because it is unique as well.
Yeah, it is. So we wanted to make it really simple. When you go online, we didn't want to have to worry about your typical e-commerce traps where things are a little tricky, and you start running into situations where you don't know what you're putting in your cart and whatnot. So we wanted to make it into a bit of a more gamification. So we did it where people were able to customize whatever products they wanted. They could go ahead and put whatever products they needed into a box. We've got different box sizes, small, regular, and over 130 different products online to choose from.
So Marc, COVID hit. And it really drove the adoption of online e-commerce in a way that we've never seen. We've been saying this is going to happen since the invention of the internet, but it wasn't until COVID that really, at scale, the masses moved online for shopping. How did that impact your business?
Yeah, I think it's really surreal, right? Because you've got pretty much the whole world that's on fire for a lot of different reasons, but then you're watching your business grow. So it's kind of trying to be sensitive to that situation, but also at the same time realizing that things haven't changed at all. It's like what you said, things have just been accelerated. And I think it's the Bank of America that had that chart that shows that we went from 16% adoption over the past 10 years, so from like 5 to 16 over 10 years, and then we went from 16 to 27 in 6 weeks. And I think that's just an acceleration. So for us, we didn't have the same problem of having to worry about shutting our doors, but we had a lot of problems too when it came to supply chain, when it came to hiring. For us, we had tens of thousands of customers across Canada. How can we keep our fulfillment centers open safely to make sure that we're getting products to these families? So that was a really, interesting time, and we're still dealing with it right now. It's not something that, you have some people that are saying it's a spike and, it's only going to go and it's going to come right back down. It's just not the case. There are people that probably wouldn't have tried ordering something online for another 2 years or so, let's say, for a lot of different reasons. Maybe they don't know how to use it on their phones. Maybe they're worried about someone stealing their credit card information. And what they ended up doing is they were forced to do it and realized that their credit card information wasn't stolen, and realized that, oh wow, this product I ordered on Amazon or wherever showed up at my door on time, and they're now going to say that, hey, this is a better way for me to shop. So I think it's exciting to see what's coming down the pipeline in the future. And to the point of TruLOCAL Connect, where we feel we need to be getting more of these farmers online and getting these people e-com solutions, because there is more demand online now.
You got a big honkin' Canadian maple leaf on your shirt. What's that all about?
So it's the whole brand. We're proudly a Canadian brand. Our biggest focus is on local, and when we talk about local, we're not just talking about Canada, we're talking about local to the province. So for us, I think that with how much Canada has given back to us and how much opportunity, we're proud to be able to incorporate the logo into all of our branding at this point. So it's yeah.
So Marc, you came from Cornwall, you went to UW, then you went to London, and then you went somewhere else, and then you're back in Waterloo Region. What brought you back here, and why has being in Waterloo Region helped make TruLOCAL successful?
Yeah, it's the best community for a startup, bar none. We did, so when I got my first full-time job after graduating, I was in London as a door-to-door meat salesman. So, there's a bit of a storyline here. And then when I decided to leave that to start TruLOCAL with a buddy, we realized that we're going to do a lot of business in the GTA, so why not move a little bit closer? So we moved from London to Milton. We were still commuting into Mississauga, actually, which is where our warehouse was. And it wasn't until we actually realized that, hey, you know what, like we can take a run here with TruLOCAL and there's a lot of opportunity. And when we started trying to hire developers and trying to hire consumer experience specialists and things like that, it's hard to recruit and bring talent when they have to drive out to Mississauga, because we were still always even recruiting out of Kitchener. I think the first 10 people on our team were Laurier, UW, and Conestoga graduates. So it just kind of made sense when we ended up getting a new warehouse in Cambridge. And then that's when we really decided that we needed an actual office space. And, I'd always known about Communitech, and the stars all aligned and we got posted up here. So there's no better place. And that's not just a plug, like it's I love being here. And I think the community here is great. I think it's just getting started.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that this is going to be ultimately, COVID there was a pre-COVID economy in the world. There's a COVID economy in the world. There's going to be a post-COVID economy world, and I think actually it's going to provide great opportunity for Canada, because one of the challenges we face as a nation and as a community is that we're too small. We don't have enough people, and of course now, we can hire people anywhere we want in the world, and with Communitech Outposts launching in 160 countries shortly, it means that Canadian companies can hire people in any jurisdiction in the world that they would like to. So I think it's going to a huge opportunity for Canada to come. The other thing I think that would be interesting is your path as an entrepreneur. Was it something that you thought about? When you were growing up, you always dreamed it would be? Was your mother disappointed when you told her that you were going to quit your day job and do your own startup? Tell me a bit about that.
I don't think my mother could ever be disappointed in me. She raised me well. Everything I did, I could choose to do. And if I messed up, I had to deal with those consequences. And she supported me every step of the way. I think whenever I was in elementary school, it was in high school, I was thinking about switching high schools just for the hell of it. And then I wanted to be a truck driver. And then I wanted to do all these different things. And she never once tried to talk me out of any of it. She just said, hey, I'm going to support you no matter what you do. So I think my entrepreneurial journey just came from I was a horrible student, and I would have been a bad employee as well. I'm very loud and opinionated. I think that part of that goes to the fact that I'm okay with taking responsibility for my actions on the negative side. So what I mean by that is that I'm okay with taking a risk, and then if that blows up in my face, I'm okay with dealing with it. So I have no problem taking risks. I'll do it as many times as I can until I get to where I want to go. And I think that is something, I don't know if it's genetic or if it's a nature versus nurture thing, but it's always kind of been that way. And for me to kind of have to, fall in line and do things that maybe I don't agree with and think there might be a better way and not have the room to spread my wings and go after that, it never really worked for me. So it wasn't until I got to UW that I understood that there are things you could do outside of being a doctor or a scientist or an engineer, because Cornwall still being a small town, you didn't really hear much about entrepreneurs. It was pretty much, okay, try to do good in high school so you can go to college or university, and then you kind of follow your degree. So when I started realizing that there was a world of entrepreneurship, which literally meant you could write your own script and do whatever you want, to me, that it kind of just screamed my name. So I think that the one thing that ties a lot of entrepreneurs together is that, we uncompromisingly go after what we want. And I think that was it early on. TruLOCAL was my third startup. The first startup I ever had where I deleted all of our users after about a year. It was the worst time of my life, and looking back on it now, wouldn't be where I'm at today, without that having happened. So I think that just goes to show, and once again, that's the one trait I've always said people say, like, what makes an entrepreneur? And I think it's just that, like, there's something about, I don't know what it is or why, but we have no interest in giving up, especially if you put your name on it, you want to go after it. And I think that there's such a strong, failure is so definitive. Like when we use the word failure, it's so definitive, but really it shouldn't be. You can mess up. You can mess up many, many times. It's only failure when you give up, which sounds so cliche, but I think that's the one thing I
love that. I think that's powerful. I think it's really powerful. Michael Litt, co-founder of Vidyard, CEO of Vidyard, said to me once in an airport that he felt that entrepreneurs were actually people who had something to prove to the world.
Yeah.
Do you think you have something to prove to the world?
Oh, absolutely. I think anybody who knows me, I have the biggest chip on my shoulder. I was, my grade 9 and 10 high school career was like absolute hell. Like I was the biggest loser in the entire high school, and rightfully so. I was a little asshole. You know what I mean? Like I brought it all on myself. And I think that I was definitely one of those kids that, people would say, and some teachers would say, like, why, I failed most of my classes. And I would always say, I'm not dumb. I just hate what I'm doing. I don't care. Like, I don't like any of this stuff. And I think that I always knew that if I had something that I wanted to go after, I could do it very successfully. I just knew that early on. There was nothing I wanted to do. So now looking back on it, there's a lot of people that I can't wait to, once you hit that pillar of success. And for me, it's still got a long way to go, but that motivates me a lot. I don't know if that's a healthy thing or not. I think I'm 29 now, and I think as the years go on, I'll get wiser as to what fuel you should use as motivation. But for me right now, I'm highly motivated by the people that have said that I can't do it, or I'm highly motivated by the people who ever try to bet against me. And if I can use that as fuel for as long as I can, then I'm gonna keep doing that.
Well, Marc, I've got every confidence that you're going to be successful, and I want to take this opportunity to thank you for being on TrueNorthTV today.
No problem. Thank you so much. I'm glad, we're always walking by each other. I'm glad I could be a part of this. We love being here, love being in the building, love being part of the Communitech community. So thank you guys for giving us everything here that we have to work with.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are interested in meat, and not just cheap meat, but fantastic meat, TruLOCAL. Check it out. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode of TrueNorthTV.
Thanks for watching this episode of TrueNorthTV. To catch the next episode, subscribe to Communitech's channel.